Hi, this is Luke for Production Expert. You're listening to an acoustic guitar track that I've just made using ambience from LiquidSonics Cinematic Rooms. So let's have another listen. But this time I'm going to turn it off. So that's the dry sound, and that's with. So incredible realism there, also with very little coloration, regardless of how much I'm using, which is actually quite a lot, so it is very clean. So the Cinematic Rooms interface is really easy to understand. So we've got the reverb time, big front and center control here, and then below that we have our bass and treble contour controls. Now what that allows us to do is to make the reverb shorter in the top end, and also longer in the bottom if we need to. Quite useful, as well as short. There is a 1 default as well, so if I double click that it'll put it back to 1. Then over to the left we've got our response curve for the early reflections, so we can darken it down or brighten it up. We can also choose how sharp our roll off is. 6 dB is more shallow, more natural sounding. And then we've also got our proximity control, and this is literally how close our virtual reflective surfaces are going to be to our source. So if I run the track, so I went for this close to, but as you can turn it up progressively, you can hear that distance being introduced. So you're actually starting to get some almost slapback type effects there. And then the reflectivity and the size controls for the early reflections are over here as well. So size is fairly self-explanatory. Reflectivity is going to regulate the amount of sound we have coming back at us from our reflective surfaces. Then on the other side, we've got our reverberation part. So the reverb is made up of 2 parts, the early reflections and the tail. So this is the tail on the right-hand side. And we can, again, have a flat response or darken it down a little bit so that we can hear sounds exactly as we would in real life. Our pre-delay down here, that is syncable to the tempo of our session as well. So this is to without a click, but if I did want to engage that, I'll just click the metronome item, and then we've got some options down here, so triplets and straight. It's doing something because it thinks that I've played to the click. I actually haven't, so I'll knock that back out again and I'll get my value in milliseconds. So the bloom control allows your reverb tail to change over time. I'll just dial in something really long. So this is small. And then at the other extreme, so we can hear some differences in the tail and how the modulation is affecting the reverb there as well. We've also got a low boost. I've decided to keep that down because I like a slightly thinner sounding reverb when I can. Then down at the bottom we've got everything to do with metering and our levels, so we can boost the level into the plugin if we need to, and then we've got the balance between our early reflections on the left and the reverb tail on the right. And then wet dry, that's fairly self-explanatory. I'm using that 100% wet because I have it in a loop over here. I've got this on an FX bus in Studio One and I've called it Cinematic Rooms. I've just reset my settings back to where I had them before. That really is a very natural sounding reverb there. It really is. I'll just turn that up so you can hear a bit more of it. A bit more than I'd like. That's without. That's completely dry, just as it was in the mics. But that sounds stunningly authentic. Very happy with that. Maybe pull it back a little bit. So that is Cinematic Rooms from LiquidSonics. It lets you place your music in incredible sounding spaces. To find out more and to read our full article, head over to the Production Expert blog.